Hello and welcome to our webinar, YA All Day, Upcoming Titles for Fall, Winter, and Beyond. Before we begin, I'd like to go over some technical details. Today's slide presentation and title list were included in the reminder email you received from Zoom 1 hour ago. To download them, please open that email, scroll to the bottom, and click on the links located there. You can also download the slides and title list by typing the URLs on this screen into your web browser. If you have any trouble, please contact us at webinars@booklistonline.com. The audience is in listen-only mode, but we welcome any questions you may have. On the bottom of your screen is a toolbar with a section for Q&A. If you have a question or need technical assistance, simply click Q&A and type your question into the box that appears. We will do our best to respond to all tech-related questions and will pass along all other questions to today's panelists so they can follow up with you after the webinar. Booklist offers closed captioning on all webinars. To enable or disable captions on your screen, please look for and click the live transcript icon on the toolbar mentioned earlier. From there, you can select Show or Hide Subtitles from the menu that appears. If you choose to enable subtitles, you can adjust the size of the captions at any time by selecting Caption Settings. And finally, Booklist expects all participants to maintain an atmosphere of respect and fairness. Anyone who violates this standard of behavior, including engaging in any form of the harassment, may, at the discretion of the organizers, be immediately removed. Today, we have the pleasure of hearing from Emily Day, Library Marketing Manager on the Macmillan Library Marketing Team, Maddie Hughes, Associate Manager, School and Library Marketing at Disney Publishing, Jeffrey Lapid, Sales and Marketing Specialist at Mad Cave, and Brianna Cornell, Sales Specialist at Shadow Mountain Publishing. We will kick things off with Emily Day. Emily is the Library Marketing Manager at Macmillan. After receiving her Master's of Arts degree in Children's Literature from Simmons University in Boston, she joined the Macmillan Library team in 2017 and has been there ever since. As the department's YA specialist, she reads mostly YA, but also loves adult thrillers and romance. Emily was proud to be named a Publishers Weekly Star Watch honoree in 2019. Thanks for being here, Emily. The floor is yours.
Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in today. As Taylor said, my name is Emily Day, and I am the Library Marketing Manager at Macmillan. Before we get to the books, here are all of the ways that you can get in touch with us online, as well as my email address. Please feel free to reach out if you have any questions about any of the books that I'm talking about today. I also do have some physical ARCs of most of these titles, so feel free to reach out if anything catches your eye. All right, now on to the books. Next slide. First up is For She Is Wrath by Emily Varga. In this standalone Pakistani romantasy retelling of the Count of Monte Cristo, Danya has been betrayed by the boy she loved and framed for a crime that she did not commit. Armed with power and a new identity, she enacts a plan to bring down those who betrayed her. But revenge is a complicated game, and Mazin is standing in her way, not to mention the undeniable fire that still burns between them. As Danya falls deeper into her web of lies, she risks losing her humanity to the dark magic and her heart to the only boy she's ever loved. This has the revenge of Kill Bill, the romantasy of Ember in the Ashes, and is perfect for anyone who particularly enjoyed Arya Stark's storyline in Game of Thrones. Next slide. The Debutantes by Olivia Worley. This is kind of Jessica Goodman meets the Agathas and Pretty Little Liars. It's a taut, twisty YA thriller set in the glittering, dark world of Mardi Gras in New Orleans. Three seemingly unrelated debutantes all got a text from the queen, Lily, asking them to meet the next morning. But Lily never showed up, and now she's disappeared. Soon, the debutantes all realize why Lily brought them together. Something dark is lurking beneath the glamorous surface of their world, and with someone out there threatening to expose their deepest secrets, the girls must team up to uncover the monsters behind the Mardi Gras masks. Next slide. Where the Library Hides by Isabel Ibanez. This is the stunning conclusion to the story that started in What the River Knows, a lush, immersive historical fantasy set in Egypt, filled with adventure and a rivals to lovers romance like no other. Inez is left reeling after the events from the first book and might have to bind her fate to the one person who could ruin her in the end. If you read the first book in this duology, you know that it ended on a shocking cliffhanger, so I, for one, am very excited to dig into this sequel. Next slide. The Whispering Night by Susan Dennard. The forest is more dangerous than ever as secrets are revealed in this highly anticipated, pulse pounding, and swoon worthy conclusion to the best selling Luminaries trilogy. Accessible, original, darkly enchanting, and full of sizzling romantic tension, this series has it all and appeals to a wide audience of readers. As Lee Bardugo says, you will want to get lost in this world again and again. Next slide. Not for the Faint of Heart by Lex Croucher. Mariel, a newly blooded and perpetually grumpy captain of the Merry Men, is desperate to live up to the legacy of her grandfather, the legendary Robin Hood. Clem, a too perky backwoods healer known for her newfangled cures, just wants to help people. When the Merry Men kidnap Clem, all seems to be going according to plan, until they get word that Mariel's father has been captured in an ambush. Mariel sets out to get him back with her annoyingly cheerful kidnappee in tow. This is a thrilling adventure full of hijinks, found family, and romance, destined to change the lives of the inhabitants of the Greenwood Forest forever. Next slide. Dust by Alison Stein. Thea, born partially deaf into a hearing family, has been told her whole life that she just needs to pretend to be like everyone else. When her family picks up and moves to southern Colorado in search of a fresh start, they live on a remote farm and practice unschooling. Thea and her sister are forbidden from going to the library. But when Thea meets Ray, the first other deaf teen she's ever met, he starts secretly teaching her how to sign, and she begins to learn what she's been missing, not only language, but community. As she spends more time with Ray, she begins learning about the history of the Dust Bowl and how it connects to her and her family. Next slide. The Rules of Royalty by Cale Dietrich. Two princes from neighboring countries fall into a whirlwind romance in this sparkling spin on The Princess Diaries. When Jamie Johnson finds out he's the heir to the throne of a Southern European country, his world is flipped upside down. Eric von Rosenborg, the spare prince in a Northern European country, is offered the chance to tutor the new prince in the ways of royalty. As the two work through the intricacies of royal etiquette, politics, and history, a connection sparks between them. Now they must decide whether to honor their hearts or their countries. Next slide. What the Woods Took by Courtney Gould. This is Yellow Jackets meets Girl Interrupted, about a group of troubled teens in a wilderness therapy program who find themselves stranded in a forest full of monsters. When the campers wake up to find their counselors missing, therapy becomes the least of their problems. Stranded and left to fend for themselves, the teens quickly realize that they'll have to trust each other if they want to survive. Next slide. Breath of the Dragon by Fonda Lee and Shannon Lee. This is the first novel in a sweeping YA fantasy duology based on characters and teachings of Bruce Lee, co-written by his daughter. 16-year-old June dreams of being a warrior in the Elite Guardians tournament, but his father strictly forbids it, so he stows away in a wagon headed for the capital where the tournament will take place. As he competes, he quickly realizes that he might be fighting not just for a better life, but for the fate of the country itself. Next slide. The Devourer by Allison Ames. This has the monster horror of The Witcher meets pirates on the high seas in this adventurous dark fantasy. After Adra's half-brother Cameron attacks their father and steals his priceless treasure map, Adra is out for blood. But her plans are thwarted when a sudden surplus of magic causes ancient sea monsters to awaken. Worse yet, Adra discovers that the ship she's been chasing for almost a year is captained by a girl who's been impersonating Cameron, while Cameron himself is missing. The two pirate captains will have to work together to find Cameron. With a blend of fantasy and horror, this will appeal to a wide audience, and with just a dash of enemies to lovers romance, it's a great option for readers who are not looking for a romance-heavy story. Next slide, please. Liar's Kingdom by Christine Kalea. This is an Into the Woods-inspired fairy tale retelling. Elle has spent years toiling away for her cruel stepfamily, so when the prince shows up at her door with a glass slipper, she allows him to believe that she was the one he danced with at the ball. Except Elle didn't attend the ball, and she has never met the prince before in her life. But if it's a choice between moving to the castle or staying home, she will say anything to escape. However, she soon finds that being royalty has its own problems, and if she wants to keep this life she's stolen, she's going to have to roll up her sleeves and rescue herself. Next slide, please. The Rival by Emma Lord, in the same vein as Never Have I Ever and Beach Read, this coming of age story is sure to satisfy anyone who loves a rivals to lovers rom-com. Sadie thinks she's finally bested her lifelong academic rival, Seb, until he shows up at her dream college and she has to compete with him all over again. As the pair vies for a spot on the school's famous magazine staff, they begin to notice flaws in the school system that are much bigger than any competition between them. Somehow, the two of them have to band together even as they're trying to crush each other, only to discover they may have met their match in more ways than one. Next slide, please. The Romantic Tragedies of a Drama King by Harry Trevaldwin. Patch Simmons has decided that this is the year he will get a boyfriend. Unfortunately, the only other out boys in his school are dating each other, so it's not going to be easy. Until two new boys join Drama Club, and Patch is confident that one of them will be his first boyfriend. Whether or not they actually like boys or him is a problem for later. This book was an instant in-house favorite and is a heartfelt, laugh-out-loud comedy about boldly being yourself, going for what you want, and never losing sight of who truly has your back. Perfect for fans of Heartstopper and Dairy Girls. Next slide, please. Needy Little Things by Chanel Dussamore. This is Tiffany D. Jackson meets That's So Raven in this debut speculative YA mystery. Soraya can hear what people need, an ability only her family and best friend know about. But when she fulfills a need for her friend Deja, who vanishes shortly after, Soraya is left wondering if her ability is more curse than gift. She's determined not to let her friend become yet another forgotten black girl, so she works with her friends to figure out what led to Deja's disappearance. This page-turning mystery delivers an honest examination of how the system and society can fail missing people of color and shines a light on topics like mental health and social justice. Next slide, please. The Scorpion Queen by Mina Fears. Deep within the imperial palace at Timbuktu, Ami has suffered a devastating loss. Once the daughter of a prosperous salt merchant, Ami now finds herself disinherited, framed for a scandalous crime, and forced to serve Princess Mariama of Mali, whose father has created a series of impossible trials for his daughter's suitors. When they fail, he publicly boils them alive, littering Mariama's path to marriage with 99 corpses. Ami plans to escape Timbuktu with her intended, Kader, but when a mysterious discovery forces her hand, she must choose between fleeing with the boy she loves or helping the princess end the deadly trials forever. Uprooted meets Children of Blood and Bone in this dark fantasy inspired by a Malian fairy tale. Next slide. Rebel Witch by Kristen Ciccarelli. The stakes are even higher in this epic romantic conclusion to the New York Times bestselling Crimson Moth duology. Rune and Gideon spent the first book as enemies, falling into a dangerous courtship. Now they're back to being enemies after betraying each other. But when Rune makes Gideon an offer he can't refuse, the two must pair up to accomplish dangerous goals. And the more they're forced into each other's company, the more Gideon realizes the feelings he had for Rune are not as dead and buried as he thought. Love has never been more deadly in this lush romantasy filled with magic and intrigue. Next slide, please. The Wildest Things by Andrea Hanna. In this sapphic Snow White retelling, if Snow is to save her kingdom from being ravaged by the blight, she'll have to kill the evil queen's daughter, if she doesn't fall in love with her first. When her glass coffin shatters, Snow White awakes to find that her kingdom has transformed from a luscious, wild land to a blight-ravaged nightmare. If Snow has any chance to survive and restore her kingdom to its former glory, she must set out on a dangerous journey that will test the strength she never knew she had, because the wild things have awakened and Snow's darker impulses yearn to set them free. Next slide. Our Infinite Fates by Laura Stephen. Evelyn remembers all of her past lives. She also remembers that in every single one, she's been murdered before her 18th birthday by Arden, a supernatural being whose soul is tethered to hers. Problem is, she's quite fond of the life that she is in right now, and her little sister needs her bone marrow transplant in order to stay alive. So she must figure out why she's being hunted, finally break the curse, and try not to fall in love in the process. This is a sweeping, fantastical love story that's perfect for fans of Addie LaRue, This Is How You Lose the Time War, and Divine Rivals. Next slide. She Waits for You Beyond the Dark by Kristen Simmons. This is the sequel to Find Him Where You Left Him Dead and the conclusion to the duology. It's been 1 month since the hellish game from the first book ended, and Owen, Maddie, and Emerson are still reeling over the trials they endured there. But they take solace in the fact that they rescued Ian from that nightmare. There's just one problem. Ian did not come home alone. He's being haunted by the Empress of the Underworld, and the only way to free Ian is to find 3 sacred objects which have been hidden across the realms of hell, heaven, and earth. Jumanji meets I Know What You Did Last Summer in this Japanese folklore-inspired underworld horror. Next slide. Hangry Hearts by Jennifer Chen. Love, family, and food collide in this sparkling Romeo and Juliet-inspired romance. Julie and Randall used to be best friends, but now they only see each other on Saturdays at the Pasadena Farmers Market, where their families are long-standing rivals. But when they're paired together for a school project, they're forced to work together for the first time in years, and soon school project meetings turn into secret dates. But when they get caught in the middle of a family fight, their secret is revealed, and Randall and Julie won't go down without a fight. With funny dialogue and messy but lovable characters, this is a big-hearted romance about friendship, family, and first love, and being brave enough to have it all. Next slide. And lastly, The Deathly Grim by Catherine Purdy. After surviving the Forest Grim, Clara and Axel have made it back to their village, but they soon find themselves entering the forest yet again to discover the truth once and for all, and realize the stakes are higher than ever. If they don't survive the dark, deadly twists of the forest once more, not only will they never escape, they may also no longer have a home to escape to. Romantic, eerie, and beautiful, this is the triumphant conclusion to Catherine Purdy's best-selling Forest Grim duology. Next slide. All right, that is it from me. Thank you so much for listening. I know that was a lot of books, so if you have any questions, please feel free to send me an email. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Emily. And now we'll be joined by Maddie Hughes. Maddie is the Associate Manager for School and Library Marketing at Disney Publishing, where she has been a part of the team since 2018. She is thrilled to be able to read and talk about children's books of all kinds as part of her job. Originally from Denver, Colorado, Maddie is now based in LA, where she loves to hike, knit, and of course, visit her local library. Take it away, Maddie.
Thanks, Taylor. So I'm excited to be here and share some great upcoming YA titles with you all. Next slide. To start, on the off chance you hadn't heard, there will be a new Percy Jackson and the Olympians title in September called Wrath of the Triple Goddess, as Percy continues his quest for 3 college recommendation letters. And of course, we're so thrilled that the Disney Plus Percy Jackson TV show has been picked up for a 2nd season. So can't wait to see that soon. Next slide. We also have 2 new YA titles coming from our best-selling and award-winning Rick Riordan Presents imprint. The first up this fall from #1 New York Times bestselling author Judy I. Lin comes The Dark Becomes Her. Vivid prose, an eerie atmosphere, and a touch of body horror meet the darkest, most gruesome parts of Chinese Taiwanese folklore in this epic adventure set in Vancouver's Chinatown. And then in February 2025, Sajni Patel returns with a follow-up to last year's A Drop of Venom, set in the same world but following one of Manisha's sisters, Ishani. A Touch of Blood is a feminist reimagining of the Persephone myth steeped in Indian lore. And this one is a standalone but set in the same world, so you can read it without having read the first one. Next slide. Picking up where the jaw-dropping ending of The Spells We Cast left off, this sequel by acclaimed author Jason June follows teen magicians and soulmates Nigel and Ori as they confront the corruption in the Magicians Guild and a dark force threatening to take control of Nigel. Can their newfound love protect them as they fight for justice and their lives? Next slide. Now, this is a new debut title we're very excited about. Blessed by the Gods, Mona Arnett has the unique ability to divine soulmates, but she refuses to seek out her own until she learns the king is dying without an heir, threatening the royal line and the world's access to magic. Tasked with naming his future queen, Mona discovers the king's soulmate is her. A royal match is the last thing Mona wants, especially when she starts falling for the king's closest advisor, so she lies, cheats, and contends with contends with scheming gods to hide the truth. But when this high-stakes Game of Thrones leads to murder, survival and the fate of the kingdom will depend on her finding the courage to face her destiny. Delightful wit, spellbinding prose, and a flawed, funny protagonist you'll love from page 1 make Divine Mortals by debut author Amanda Helander a must-read. And this is the perfect book to hand to fans of romantasy, especially Rebecca Ross and Sarah J. Maas. And it's the first in a duology. Next slide. I'm excited to present also another debut, Midnights with You by debut author Claire Asonko. This emotional YA romance follows 17-year-old Dee Dee, whose fraught relationship with her Filipino mother is weighed down with grief, secrets, and family trauma. Unable to sleep, Dee Dee sneaks out at night, where she meets the boy next door, Jay, who is similarly struggling with family issues. When Jay agrees to secretly teach Dee Dee how to drive, something her mom won't let her do, the midnight drives lead to a blossoming love. But the deeper Dee Dee digs into the trauma that has shaped her, the more that trauma threatens to tear the two apart. Together, these two must decide if the pain they both inherited has the power to choose their fate, or if they have the power to choose for themselves. Next slide. Briarcliff Prep sophomore year is the sequel to Briarcliff Prep, and follows student Avi LeBeau through her second year at school with all the ups and downs in the classroom, friendships, and romance that entails. The world of Briarcliff Prep, a fictional historically Black boarding school, is inspired by Spelman College, author Brianna Pepin's alma mater, and includes a really inclusive and diverse all-Black cast. And I do have to say that this is a really refreshing addition to one of my personal favorite genres, which is the boarding school novel. Next slide. Mystery Royale is a genre-bending murder mystery by debut author Caitlin Cavalancia. When 16-year-old Mullery Prudence receives an invitation to the Stoutmeyer estate to compete in a game called Mystery Royale for the chance at a sizable inheritance, she can't say no. Dizzy with the prospect of billions, Mullery enters the game only to unearth the true prize, the illusionary magical properties of Xavier Stoutmeyer, a recluse without an heir. A recluse who is expected to keep his magic in the family, especially when there isn't enough for each member. With a prize worth killing for, the game is simple. Be the first to solve the mystery. Who killed Xavier Stoutmeyer? 1 week full of lavish parties dripping with enchantments, in a mansion brimming with clues of the past, and everyone's a suspect. To win, Mullery will need to untangle a twisted family web and decide who she can trust. So this is perfect for fans of Jennifer Lynn Barnes' The Inheritance Game, and also fans of Maureen Johnson's Truly Devious. Next slide. And now we have a couple of franchise updates from favorite Disney franchises. From Marvel, we have a new collection of short stories. The Spider-Man You Know is one of many. Meets 10 spider heroes in Stories from the Spider-Verse, a new short story collection with stories from 10 well-known middle grade authors. And this one says 12 and up on the slide, but it actually should be 8 and up. So it's perfect for middle grade readers, but also YA readers who are looking for something a little fast and light. And then also we have the newest YA novel in the High Republic series coming this fall. Next slide. Okay, we also have a bunch of new Disney titles that reimagine or extend the stories from beloved Disney movies. Some are new installments in existing series, and some are the first book in a new series or are standalones. So I've just combined them all onto 2 slides, but I'll give a little rundown. So the first is Fairy Godmother by Jen Kalanita, is the first book in an all-new Disney Enchanters series, which is going to follow different sort of enchanters from different Disney stories like Genie and the Fairy Godmother. And so with an original prequel story about, you guessed it, Cinderella's fairy godmother. And then A Sword in Slumber is the 4th book in the Queen's Council series, which imagines what might happen when a Disney princess becomes a queen, using the information and set within the real historical context of their time period. So this book, written by Sarah Rosh, follows Princess Aurora as she ascends to the throne of Austria within the context of the Holy Roman Empire. And then Prince of Glass and Midnight is the third book in the Disney Princess series, which retells the story of the Disney movie from the princess perspective. This is the story of Prince Charming, and we have already done ones from Prince Eric from The Little Mermaid, and also Prince Philip from Sleeping Beauty. And then something I know so many fans will be excited about, the next book in the Twisted Tales series is written by Mary Mancusi, and it's called Sally's Lament, and asks the question, what if Sally discovered Christmas Town instead of Jack? Next slide. Okay, a couple more. In Encanto, Nightmares and Sueños, we do talk about Bruno. From author Alex Segura comes a prequel that explores what happened to a teenage Bruno that led to the falling out with his family. And then Bemused is by author Farah Rashon, and it's an all-new standalone novel. The untold origin story of the five muses from Disney's Hercules is revealed in this frolicking YA fantasy filled with mythical adventure, music, and the unbreakable bonds of sisterhood. The Dark Ascension series, which follows Disney villains in their teenage years and their relationships with their siblings, exploring what led them to become the villains we know, is also another series we have. And in this third book in the series, The Wishlist Ones, written by New York Times bestselling author Hafsa Faizal, readers learn the origin story of Agrabah's future royal vizier Jafar and his brother Rohan. And then finally, for fans of the Disney fairies comes the YA romance that we've all been waiting for. From the author of A Far Wilder Magic, Alison Saft, comes Wings of Starlight, a sweeping star-crossed romance between the Queen of Pixie Hollow and the Lord of Winter Woods. And we're very excited to be returning to Pixie Hollow in the YA space. Next slide. Okay, that's everything for me. We have galleys for many of these titles available on NetGalley and Edelweiss, so please put in your request there and feel free to reach out with any questions. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Maddie. We'll now hear from Jeffrey Lappet. Jeffrey is a publishing professional with over 10 years of experience working with comic books, graphic novels, and children's picture books. Welcome, Jeffrey.
Cool. Thank you. Hi, everybody. I'm Jeffrey Lappid. I'm the sales and marketing specialist for Mad Cave Studios. We are celebrating our 10th anniversary this year, so we're all really excited about that. Next slide, please. Maverick is our YA imprint, which launched in 2021. Maverick aims to showcase diverse creators telling stories with diverse characters. We hope that everyone can see themselves in the pages of our Maverick graphic novels. So I'll be talking about recent YA releases as well as some upcoming YA graphic novels that are going to publish before the end of this year. Next slide, please. Of Her Own Design, this is our first book here. It's already out. It's available now. 16-year-old writer Bree Page comes across a magic pen that allows her to literally escape into her stories. The only problem is that everyone in her hometown and all the problems she's trying to escape from are also coming along for the ride. Next slide, please. Of Her Own Design is a queer-led fantasy romance written in the isekai style of manga. The book starts out in black and white, but as the story progresses, color is added as Bree enters different stories with different genres, including a Tolkien-esque inspired fantasy, sci-fi space pirate story in the vein of Queen Emeraldis, and a Jane Austen style romance. Next slide, please. This is Fate, the Winx Saga, Volume 1, Dark Destiny, a continuation of the popular Netflix series Fate, the Winx Saga. This graphic novel is sure to be popular among fans of the Netflix series as well as fans of the original Winx cartoon and comics. The magical Althea School is back in session, but this year Aisha, Kat, Tara, and the rest of the Winx Club will have to face new challenges and a mysterious new threat without the help of their best friend Bloom. This is a kind of an update of the kind of classic Winx Club fairies stories. This graphic novel features YA subject material in an all-new original story that's perfect for teen fans who grew up with Winx, as well as new fans who are only familiar with the Netflix series or with the Winx Club graphic novels that we published through our children's graphic novel imprint, Paper Cuts. All the main characters of the series are women with diverse backgrounds, which hopefully allows all readers to see themselves represented in this story. Next slide, please. navigating you. Oh, I'm sorry. That's some. Yeah. Oh, okay. Cool. We'll go through that one. That was some art from Fate the Wing Saga. Okay. Let's go with Navigating with You right now. This just came out today, so happy book birthday to Navigating with You. Nisha and Gabby are both the new kids at school, and they are obsessed with their favorite manga, Navigator Nozomi. Next slide, please. The two new friends set out on a road trip through North Carolina to try to track down the Navigator Nozomi volumes that they're missing. We see their road trip adventure intercut with scenes from the manga Navigator Nozomi. As the road trip continues, they both see that their new friendship could be blossoming into something more. Navigating with You is a story about love, friendship, and those beautiful moments of connection that bring people closer together. Next slide, please. Been getting a lot of wonderful praise for Navigating with You, so we just wanted to share some of that with you. We have positive reviews from 3 of the major trades. We got Kirkus, Publishers Weekly, a starred review from Booklist, which is we're really excited about. And we also have Navigating with You included. Navigating with You is also included in the New York Times 8 comics to read this Pride Month. So a lot of really nice praise for this, and it just came out today, so hopefully you'll be carrying it in your stores or your collections. Next slide, please. Scoop Volume 2, Buried Leads. The Weird Adventures of Sophie Cooper, teenage intern at Miami's worst TV news station, continue in Scoop 2. Next slide, please. This seems to be art from a different book, so I will I'll send some new art to be included when you take a look at these. Sorry about that. Volume 2 finds Sophie fresh off of uncovering the paranormal conspiracy in Miami from Volume 1. She's still juggling school, her news station internship, and now she's stuck in a love triangle with 2 of her best friends, while also trying to unravel a new mystery concerning a celebrity chef accused of murdering his ex-wife. All of this is happening while she's planning for her upcoming quinceañera, so it's a very busy time for Sophie. Sophie's a strong-minded, relatable teenage girl. She's kind of like if Nancy Drew were solving cases from the X-Files. Scoop features a very diverse cast of characters and a gripping mystery at the center of each volume. Volume 3 will be coming out in 2025. Next slide. And then next slide. Okay, cool. Pirate Princess is our next book. This one will be coming out in October. Julie is an aspiring pirate with a mysterious past who only wants 2 things. 1, to become the best pirate in existence, and 2, to explode as many things as she can. Next slide, please. On her quest to become the best pirate, Julie uncovers secrets about her displaced family and learns more about her true place in the world. The Pirate Princess is a swashbuckling coming-of-age story on the high seas with plenty of pirate action. It's a graphic novel that explores the meaning of family and the importance of a found family. As Julie goes on these adventures with her fellow pirates, she discovers a deeper connection that her once unknown family has to the whole pirate kingdom and hierarchy. As the story progresses, she learns more about her origins, but she also learns the importance of her chosen family that she's met on the high seas. Very sort of in line with One Piece, of course, the big pirate manga, but it also has some very relatable YA themes that young readers can enjoy and identify in their own lives as well. Next slide, please. Teleportation and Other Luxuries. In a cutthroat scientific competition, an oddball quartet featuring an internet-famous teen heartthrob, a rebellious anarchist, a shy genius, and a small-town jack-of-all-trades will vie for victory. They've uncovered the secrets of the science of teleportation, but their clashing personalities and hidden agendas threaten to sabotage their chances to win. Teleportation and Other Luxuries features a funny, queer-led story, diverse characters, and a sci-fi element that will make you reconsider our own world, particularly the intersection of science and commerce. This, like all great sci-fi books, is a way for us to reconsider our relationships in our own world. The teens in the teleportation and other luxuries are entering the science competition that is hosted by Blamazon, which I'm sure, will be able to tell what that actually is standing in for. And as they are trying to uncover the secrets of teleportation and win this science project, we also kind of get a look at how Blamazon has its fingers in all facets of life and are simply taking over every aspect of our lives. So it's a look at corporate interest in scientific development. It's a look at which communities can depend on new technologies and which ones are and for who this technology serves. It's a really cool and interesting look at that stuff, while also just being a very funny story about four mismatched teens who come together and solve a problem. So one of the ones that we're really looking forward to this October. Next slide, please. This is my last title. This is Tective, Volume 1. This is a graphic novel, will be coming out in December. This is from the author of Scoop, Richard Ashley Hamilton, and it's drawn by Marco Matrone. Long after the latest apocalypse, the sprawling city that was once known as Los Angeles is now called LA, E-L-L-A-Y. LA is a vast city of small farming villages where crime is an unknown concept from long, long ago. Bingo Finder is a contentious teen who just knows that there's more to life than farming and staying alive for another day. In her free time, she scavenges for ancient books around the city. Her favorites are detective novels, the ones where men in hats and trench coats solve mysteries with little more than their brains and their nerve. When Bingo's on-again, off-again girlfriend goes missing, she must use her knowledge learned from her detective novels to solve the case. Along the way, she'll uncover a conspiracy deep in the heart of peaceful LA, as well as some hidden secrets about who she really is. Detective is one that I personally am very excited about. That has a lot of cool references to classic noir and older detective novels. Bingo's a really fun and exciting character. It's a really cool new look at a post-apocalypse. I think most of the time we think post-apocalypse as a big old wasteland where everyone's struggling to survive. And this opts for a sort of more idyllic post-apocalypse where cities have long been abandoned and overrun by natural life and vegetation, and we see these people kind of living a pretty idyllic life. But as with many post-apocalypse and detective and sci-fi novels, something idyllic has something rotten in its core, and Bingo is out there to solve the case. So this is the first of a series, and we're really excited about this one. Okay, next slide, please. That's all from me. If you have any questions about any of these books, or if you would like to review some samples or check out some PDFs of any of the titles that I had talked about in this webinar, please feel free to contact me. My contact information is here, as well as the contact information of the other members of our sales and marketing team. And we're happy to answer any questions, provide you with any materials that you may want to look at before you purchase our books. Let's go to one more slide here. So yeah, just want to thank you for your time, and I'll pass it back to Taylor at Booklist.
Thank you, Jeffrey. Our final presentation will come from Brianna Cornell. Brianna's experience with Shadow Mountain titles dates back to elementary school, which is when she first read Fablehaven. Her love for reading has continued to grow since then, and she feels privileged to work in publishing. She graduated from Weber State University with a bachelor's in English and a minor in literary editing. Thanks for being here, Brianna. The floor is yours.
Hi everyone, this is Bree from Shadow Mountain. Thank you so much for tuning in today. I'm going to be presenting some of our upcoming young adult titles. We have some really exciting things coming, and so let's go ahead and jump right in. All right, we're going to start here with Casters and Crowns by Elizabeth Lowham. We are super excited to be publishing this romantasy title. It releases on October 1st. We've received a great endorsement for it already from Catherine Purdy, and I'm not going to tell you too much more about it because we have a clip from the author, Elizabeth Lowham, so I will let her take it from here on the next slide.
Hi, I'm Elizabeth Lowham, author of Casters and Crowns, an upcoming YA romantasy. Princess Aria has 100 days to live. After placing her trust in the wrong person, she was cursed by a magic-wielding caster. Now, her best hope for breaking her curse is to seek help from another caster, the handsome and charming Baron Reeves. She learned her lesson to never trust a caster, so she vows not to be fooled by his dimpled smiles or his devotion to his brothers. But as she spends more time with him, she discovers that her heart has other ideas. This is a romantasy, and many young adult romantasies include spicy scenes. This book does not. It has swoony kisses and nothing more. Part of navigating life is choosing the people that we will trust and finding ways to cooperate with people when we are forced to, even if we might not like those people. Arya is a crown princess, and she has to lead an entire kingdom of people, specifically a kingdom that includes magic users. She is not a magic user, and she's distrustful of them, especially after her initial experience. She has to listen to people who are different from her and learn how to appreciate their view and their life experience, as well as figure out what she can do to help them in her leadership position. Teens are going into a bunch of different leadership positions. They might already be in many. They can be in sports teams, class projects, going into college, even the workforce. They can already be leaders. And so learning how to navigate and work with people very different from them is a crucial skill. At the start of the book, Arya has extreme self-criticism. She gives herself marks whenever she makes any kind of mistake, and she keeps a running tally of those mistakes, which is not healthy. She holds herself to an unreasonable standard. It's because as a ruler of an entire kingdom, she feels like she has to be perfect. On the flip side, Baron cannot forgive himself for a mistake that he made using his magic, and it's limiting how he can use his magic in the present. And both of these characters have to learn how to work together. And as they come together, they appreciate the best in each other, which helps them appreciate the best in themselves. There's even a villain redemption because in the end, people we see as villains often want the same goals that we do. And if we're willing to be compassionate and to have an open dialogue, then we can often come to a compromise that can benefit everyone. And at the very least, we can understand why people take the paths that they do. And so this book focuses on forgiving ourselves and forgiving others. Teens are under enormous pressure in school and in their personal lives, and it's important that they know that failure is part of the process of life, and that true strength lies in acknowledging mistakes, not shying from them, not pretending they don't exist, acknowledging them and moving forward, incorporating them into a future strength. This book celebrates romance, sibling bonds, and second chances. It teaches that although it may seem impossible, the biggest differences can be bridged, and there can be common ground even between casters and crowns.
Okay, we're going to move on now to a couple of contemporary high school romances. We're going to start here with Fun Fact I Love You by Gina Lynn Larson. This book is out already. It just came out last month. With her debut, Gina brings us a fast-paced high school romance novel filled with first kisses, childhood crushes, and secret confessions. It is a sweet friends to lovers romance that would appeal to fans of Casey West. There is witty dialogue as well as delightful banter in here, but you also get that classic relationship angst and heart that you find in a lot of contemporary young adult romances. And in addition to this lighthearted tone, this fun lighthearted tone that the book employs, there are also some more serious themes, as Nellie, her boyfriend Jensen, and her mother all have to deal with the unexpected passing of Nellie's father. So that's Fun Fact I Love You. We have a couple of endorsements here on the screen from Publishers Weekly and Casey West. Coming this fall on November 5th is a new young adult title by Julie Wright called The Art of Us. This is a high school romance that includes themes such as open communication, consent, and the right to tell your own story. We have a clip from the author for this one as well, so I'm going to let Julie tell you more about this on the next slide.
Everybody, my name is Julie Wright. Hi, I am the author of The Art of Us, and I'm excited to talk to you all about it today. The Art of Us is about a high school student. Her name is Ireland Rain, and she's living on the streets, and she's entirely on her own, and she's just trying really hard to keep anybody in her school from finding out. When the guy that she's dating discovers that she's homeless, basically, he decides to tell the art teacher, which results in Ireland ending up in foster care in the home of one of the most popular girls in school, who also just happens to be Ireland's greatest nemesis. So when Ireland gets involved in this high school art project that is involving all of the student body, she discovers that, like her, people aren't always what they seem to be. Mean girls aren't all mean. People who seem to have it all together on the outside are just as likely to be a mess on the inside. And sometimes love is just as much about forgiveness and honest communication as it is about romance. So it's a great story of, first love and friendship and finding out who you are. It's all of those fun high school feels and all of the not great high school feels too. It's high school basically. I think it's a great story of friendship and love and honesty and being who you were meant to be in a world where sometimes that's hard to do when you're trying to fit in. I hope you all enjoyed as much as I loved writing it, and I hope you have a great day. Thanks, everybody. See you. Bye.
In addition to The Art of Us, Julie has a second young adult novel coming next summer. I wanted to give everyone a glimpse of it since it was just recently announced. Wendy's Ever After is an imaginative addition to the original Peter Pan story. Wendy Darling, now a young woman, navigates her social life while daydreaming about her adventures in Neverland. Upon meeting a mysterious man reminiscent of Peter Pan, she returns to Neverland. Torn between past and future, Wendy rediscovers her courage, battling old foes and forging new friendships. This is a sweet, whimsical read that will appeal to lovers of fairy tales and happily ever afters. Wendy's Ever After combines the popular romance tropes of secret identity, forbidden love, and the lovable rogue. It is set to release in July of 2025. I also wanted to take a moment to highlight our proper romance collection. We are seeing more and more young adult readers pick these up. They're sweet, chaste historical romances. We have published more than 60 proper romances over the years, 25 of which, so almost half, have received starred reviews. Traditionally, these books are set in the Regency or Victorian era, but we are branching out into more and more settings and subgenres, including Gothic, Western, and time travel. The one I have here on the slide is Tides of Time by Sarah M. Eden. In this book, Lily escapes the French Revolution but is thrown 80 years into the future by a storm, landing in 1873 England. When she is rescued by the lighthouse keeper, she gradually warms to him, despite mutual wariness. As past dangers resurface, they must overcome time's boundaries to protect their love. Tides of Time is set to release on March 4th, and we also have another time travel romance there on the slide, a time traveler's masquerade that is set to release in April. We have plenty of new releases as well of the classic Regency genre coming this fall, as well as hardcover collector's editions of some of our popular favorites. For a complete catalog of new and upcoming proper romance titles, visit the Shadow Mountain Edelweiss page. Just like our proper romance novels, the books in our historical fiction collection do not contain gratuitous sex, violence, or language, and are also eagerly consumed by young adult readers. I wanted to just take a second to highlight a couple of them. Here on the slide, we have Lady Flyer by Heather B. Moore, which is based on the true story of Nancy Harkness Love, who was the first woman to fly combat planes. Nancy also fought to implement a women's pilots division in the military, creating what later became known as the WASP, or the Women Air Force Service Pilots. This story of Nancy's fight for women's equality in aviation promotes themes of empowerment and breaking gender barriers. There is also a love story interwoven throughout the book as Nancy meets and courts Bob Love. Heather B. Moore is a veteran historical fiction novelist. 2 of the novels she previously published with us received starred reviews. Another World War II title that has been particularly popular this year is Hidden Yellow Stars, which just came out in March. It's been at the top of our bestseller list all year. We do have some others that have either been released recently or are coming soon. So for anyone who's interested, there is a complete catalog of our historical fiction novels up on Edelweiss. Alright, it looks like that's all that I have. Thank you so much for watching. ARCs of these titles are available or will be available soon on NetGalley and Edelweiss. Also, as of last week, our complete spring catalog is up on Edelweiss, so be sure to check that out if you haven't already. We also do have a complete catalog of our young adult offerings on Edelweiss, so if you are interested in looking at some of our backlist titles, then that is available for you as well. If anybody has any questions, please feel free to email me at bcornell@shadowmountain.com. Thanks again for watching, and I hope that everyone has a great rest of the week.
Thank you, Brianna, and a huge thank you to all of today's wonderful panelists. Tomorrow, all attendees will receive an email containing links to today's video recording, slide presentation, title list, and a certificate of completion. For more about Booklist webinars, be sure to visit booklistonline.com/webinars, where you can view archives of past webinars and register for upcoming ones like those you see here. Whether you are traveling overseas, across the country, or via armchair this summer, we have your next beach read. Subscribe now to get print and digital copies of Booklist and digital and shareable issues of our new patron-friendly product, Booklist Reader, for a special webinar price of $99. In addition to these publications, you'll also get archive access, extra online content, and our 2024 Guide to Graphic Novels issue. Head over to the Booklist website for more details. Thank you again for joining us for today's webinar. A huge thank you to our panelists and to our sponsors, Macmillan Library Marketing, Disney Publishing, Mad Cave Studios, and Shadow Mountain Publishing. This concludes today's webinar. See you next time.